I'm a movie man. I'm an octopus who reviews movies, and today's review is going to be on. So, this was a movie which I'd heard about some time ago. I saw the trailer for it, and yeah, I thought it looked like an interesting movie. So, I figured, that I'd give it a watch. It got released there in Ireland this past weekend, and I went to see it there 2 days ago as of recording this review, and having seen it now, what did I think? Yeah, I have to say I liked this movie enough. I wouldn't call it a great film or like anything amazing, but with that being said, for what it was, I actually liked it. Getting into my thoughts on the movie, start things off, I think the cinematography in this film is pretty good. Like it's set, on this like farm, like in the post-apocalypse, and sure, this movie was actually shot up in Dublin, as far as I'm aware. And I have to say, for the most part, I think it's quite a well shot movie. Like, there are some nice shots in this film, I'll admit. Now, I'll admit there's kind of some points where they'll kind of like they'll have it be this kind of wide shot, and then the camera will kind of go in closer. They kind of do that at some points, and I'll admit I wasn't really a huge fan of those, but that aside, the cinematography overall is pretty good. Now, as for the editing in this film, I think the editing in the movie is quite good. Like, it is for the most part a pretty well edited movie. Now, admittedly, during the third act, like, the editing actually does go genuinely like really wild. But with that is expected given what's happening during the climax. So yeah, I think the editing is pretty good as well. Now, as for the pacing in this film, I would say that this film is a pretty well-paced movie. Now, this is not a very long movie, only being 92 minutes, which I think is honestly a perfectly okay runtime for the film. And yeah, so I think the film is kind of paced for the most part evenly enough. With the story, I wouldn't call it great pacing. I feel like at times, they probably could have like maybe not as it felt as rushed. I felt it was a little too rushed at times, and at times I feel like it just could have been paced a bit better, to where I cared a bit more. But that aside, the pacing overall is okay. So that's alright pacing. The sound and music in the film, I think it's pretty good. Like, I'll admit, like, the sound effects of these creatures are genuinely pretty creepy. It is definitely pretty good sound effects, and overall I think the movie has a decent enough score. It's not like a great score, but it fits with the movie well enough, I feel. So yeah, I think the sounds and music in the movie is pretty good. As for the characters and the performances from the cast, so starting things off, we of course have the main protagonist of this film, Paul, who is like, of course, like the father of these two boys, and I think Paul is a pretty solid character. Like, I mean, I like how like, he does genuinely care about his sons. Like, even when he might come across a little strict, you do understand why. And of course, it's not exactly like a great or like really like memorable protagonist, but he's pretty solid for what he is, and I think Nicolas Cage does like a pretty good performance. Now, he doesn't like go exactly very like over the top like he usually would. He just go on full on Cage. Like, I mean, he kind of gives a bit of kind of a kind of a serious performance, but he does good with it. Like, I mean, you could have put like another talented actor here, and I think they would have done the job well enough, but nonetheless, he does a good performance for what he is given. So I thought he was good. Now you have his two sons, Thomas and Joseph, and I think they're both solid as well. Now, like, they're not like great characters, but like they have like a believable enough like bond as brothers. Like, they'll bicker, they'll have little arguments like like brothers do, but like, I mean, they are both likable enough characters, even if they're not like great. And like, I'll admit, the two young actors, they both do good performances for what they're given. So yeah, I thought they were solid enough. Now, in terms of the other characters, there's this girl named Charlotte. She kind of lives with this other family, and who Thomas is always going and meeting, and like, I thought she was okay. Again, not a great character, but I liked her. I mean, I thought she has a pretty sweet bond with Thomas. Like, all the people who Charlotte is living with, I won't really get much into them, but yeah, none of them were particularly great characters at all. Like, this is where kind of like my issue with the pacing comes in, because while they're not really involved in the film for most of it, they kind of do start like doing things during the third act, which I won't give away, but I know I feel like the movie could have been paced better to where it felt more believable, but yeah, I didn't think they were great, to be honest. And then we have the creatures themselves, and like they're genuinely creepy. Like, the movie follows the Jaws rule of like keeping them like hidden in the shadows for most of the movie until the third act. But yeah, during the climax, we do kind of get to see like a bit of them, like what they look like, and yeah, all I'll say is, if you plan on checking this film out, just wait until you see them. Like, oh boy, all I'll say is, you'll be in for quite a wild one with them. And yeah, they do have pretty cool designs when we get to see them, and the effects for them are actually solid enough. So yeah, while the characters may not be anything amazing, I think like the main characters anyway are pretty alright, and the acting is honestly good enough. So yeah, they're overall pretty solid. Well, some of them anyway. In terms of the plot of the movie now, the film has a decent enough concept. Now it's nothing like particularly amazing or original. Like, you've probably kind of seen it before. But I don't think the movie does a very bad job with it. Like, this movie has kind of been compared to A Quiet Place a bit, and yeah, I can see where those Quiet Place comparisons are coming from, because this movie is definitely quite similar to A Quiet Place, but I guess the characters in this movie are a bit luckier, because unlike in those movies, they actually like get to talk loud enough. But yeah, again, it does like a solid enough job. Kind of like A Quiet Place, there's kind of a bit of like a family drama in here, with the father and his two sons, and honestly, I think it's pretty well done. You're interested to see what's going to happen. Like, it does actually have some pretty decent moments of suspense. Yeah, honestly, again, it's not like the most original concept out there, but for what the film aims to do, I think it does it pretty well. So yeah, I think the plot of this movie is actually quite decent. And as for the narrative structure now, most part kind of is like this one, plot for most of it. At times there can be points where maybe some other stuff might happen, but it kind of is just this one main plot for most of it. But with that being said, I think the one main plot, while it's nothing like absolutely outstanding, it's decent enough. It's a good suspenseful horror with some decent like family dynamic in here as well. Again, nothing spectacular, but decent enough for what it is. So I honestly thought it did pretty well with the one main plot that it had. So overall, Arcadian was a pretty solid movie in my opinion. It has good acting, and like, it's not like the most original plot out there. Like, it does decent enough with it, and I think you care about the main characters anyway, and it does like genuinely have you like wanting to see what's gonna happen. Like, again, it's not an amazing movie, but I have to be honest, I liked it enough for what it is, and if it sounds like something you'll be interested in, then I'd say it's worth a watch. So with that, I'm going to give Arcadian a 7 out of 10. So that, I'll see you guys next time, and bye.